platforms.
Countdown.
I hope we're live on the other platforms. So instead of going from Zoom, we are now from a multi-streaming platform to make life easy. Neil, do you have an echo over there?
That was me. Sorry.
I don't think. Nope.
All right. This is not medical advice. So Neil, give us our spiel. So, hey, that was pretty funny. Sorry.
It rhymed. All right. Hey, welcome everybody to another chat with all our AMS people and everybody else out there. First, yeah, it's not medical advice. This is just us answering basic questions for you. You got something specific, call your doctor or join our practice at amstelehealth.com. We'd love to help you out there. Otherwise, yeah, it's also not a HIPAA compliant space. Hello, it's social media. So if you say it here, everybody in the world knows it. Right. So if you don't want to know your business, don't say it here.
When we record it, it's forever available on YouTube. So, well, I think it might be available on the other platforms as well. So if you say it, it's going out. It's going out. But we are here to answer lots and lots of questions. So bring them on. You can go to watchdrmo.com, put your questions in the chat, or put your questions on TikTok in the comments. And we should have a chat on Restream as well.
Yeah, it's there. I don't
look at Neil go. I'm like,
I see it there.
All right. So tell me, first of all, if you want to like the video, that helps us. If you want to be our patient, go to amstelehealth.com. You can check our states there too. That's Active Medical Solutions, but it's amstelehealth.com. You can take a look at our states, see what we do. If you want coaching, if you're not in our states, but you just, because what I coach are patients within AMS, I coach clients outside in any state. So you can go to Dr. Mo Coaching for that part.
Yes, and come see us. I see lots of questions online, like who's still prescribing. Reddit's everyone. Who do I go to? Us. Okay. We're still prescribing. Yeah. We are not stopping prescribing until we are not allowed to prescribe. Go to AMS Telehealth, see what states we have. I know there was questions about New York. Yep, we're in New York. Come see us there. I think there was like someone looking for somebody, like the whole family all got kicked off.
Oh wow.
They were using another health. I'm like, come see us, guys.
Well, and the frustrating thing is, one of our pharmacies even did what they were supposed to do, stopped doing it, and then they came back. And I'm like, oh, because then we don't have a problem with that because we have good relationships with the pharmacies. We can easily go back and forth because we don't just do one thing. We're a medical practice with relationships with other people. So for us, that's just like, oh, look, it's a random Tuesday. Look, a change, Yeah,
we learned our lesson with that other pharmacy that you have to have lots of pharmacies at all times.
Yes, for those of you who are around mid 2023, I guess. No,
last
22.
Summer. Yeah. It was last summer, I think.
It wasn't 22. It was February.
It was 23.
23. Early 23.
Summer. Mid-summer, like June-ish, May, June.
It was horrible. I don't know. It was horrible. But
yeah, it was like all at the same time with the coupon and the pharmacy and everything.
Yeah. We don't do that. We have a service. We provide a service. We help patients. If you're in my coaching, we help clients. It's just not, we're not a one-trick pony and we don't rely on just one pharmacy. Plus that's illegal. So there's that. So we don't do things that are sketch. I forgot to put the collar on my dog. Sorry if you hear my dog bark. That's what it is. We'll see if we can stop him from barking. But you guys, so hey to everybody. We have lots of people on TikTok. Start asking questions. What do you want to know about fat loss journey? We can start talking about the pillars. Let's do that. Ask all the questions. Neil, here's a question.
Yeah.
What do I do? I'm going to ask the question that way we'll hit this with a preemptive strike. There's two things you want to hit, right? I just started a GLP1. What's the most important thing?
I have two things.
Cheater.
First thing's going to be for me, after my experience, is going to be hydration. Because I was getting headaches, everything, because I just wasn't drinking anything, because I wasn't eating, and I just had no appetite whatsoever. So if I had to start all over, my first thing was I would be counting and kind of like seeing how much physically I'm drinking to make sure I'm staying hydrated to avoid all that. Step 2 would have been protein. Just not worrying about total calorie intake, just making sure I'm getting adequate protein. And if that's just protein shakes for the day, that's what it is.
So I had a super interesting comment. I commented to somebody on Facebook because they said they were having all this stomach pain on semaglutide. And I said, and their doctor very nicely restarted them on their Pepcid. I'm like, thank God, because she couldn't get into her PCP to get that prescription again. So it was very nice of her weight loss doctor. So sorry, I read the comment on TikTok and got sidetracked. And I said, I really hope that your provider also had you take a look at what you're eating. And this person wrote back and said, oh my God, I hope he doesn't make me track. And I said, no one has been able. We have never had a patient who looked at their intake and intentionally looked at their intake. And I phrased it differently, probably not as nice. We've never had a patient look at their intake and not fix their side effects. Like if you're having all the stomach pain, is it such a catastrophe to have to write down if you ate broccoli? I mean, I understand not fanatically tracking, looking at macros. Grab a piece of paper and say, I feel like shit after I eat avocados, or whatever.
And I think that's more what it was, that she thought she had to like weigh and measure everything, which is super annoying. Which like for my patients, let's just track protein. That's all you really need to see. And if things aren't going well with that, calorie wise, you're not losing weight. Okay, well, let's look at other stuff. Now we can add calories in and see how many total calories, and we'll worry about carbohydrates and fats later. Which typically, if you're getting adequate protein and hydrating and the meds at the appropriate dose, you don't need to really worry about those other things.
Yeah, no,
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay. Dakota, did we talk about the stoppage of being able to get tirzepatide in the future? We talked about it a little bit, touched on it just a teeny tiny bit, but we didn't kind of dive into the big thing of what it's all speculation at this point, right? Because normally when the FDA takes a medication off of the shortage list, it's after it's been available for about 4 months consistently. And obviously that did not do this. It was about 6 weeks. So it looks like that the compound pharmacies said, what are you doing? And the FDA said, well, let's get an investigation and figure out. And while that investigation happens, things are, carrying on. Oh, I love that. Thank you. So bottom line is AMS, we find solutions. So whatever happens, we're here for it. We're not going anywhere because this is too important to let go of.
So I know some pharmacies, when that went down, they were like, oh, okay, we're going to offer like 3 and 6 month prescriptions. They got cease and desist letters from Eli Lilly. They're like, the hell you are, the hell you're skirting this. So,
but that was before the.
That was before this, yeah. Like right when it first came down.
The compound.
And the next day they're like, here, you come get 6 months from us. They're like, no, good. You can try.
Nice job. Yeah, no, which is pretty funny, considering like literally the next week, this this legal action came out of. Things looked a little weird. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, so we don't know anything till what? November 21st.
Yep. Okay. That's at least good. It's a place to go,
Yeah.
Place to go.
Well, it gives people a little bit more time to plan, like plan the switch to semaglutide if that's going to happen. I think you still have to assume that it is going to go away. At least for me, if it was me, I'm like, okay, I'm assuming it's going away. What is my plan for if it does? And if it doesn't, fantastic. That'd be great if I get another 6 months or a year. To the point where I'm shocked that Eli Lilly is caught up this fast. Like I didn't think it would be at least until next summer. Not, hey, we're gonna get caught up soon. Next day we're caught up. What?
Right. Sorry, I'm trying to see if we're actually my dog's going crazy. Trying to make sure we're actually restreaming. Okay, Cardenas said, I've worked out and eaten low carb for 3 months, dropped only 2 pounds. Help. I know what I would say.
Yeah, this is where if we've only dropped 2 pounds in 3 months, it kind of depends. What dose are you at, and is your appetite controlled all week? Because if you are still hungry all the time, of course you're not really going to lose weight. Some people, I mean, if you're on 3 months in, you might be at like 7.5 at the most, I'm guessing. It might just not be your dose. You might need to get to 10, 12 and a half before you really start seeing good effects. Having said that, if you are having appetite control and you're not losing, this is where I would kind of look at total calories where you're at, and kind of see if you need to. Oh, she's not on medication.
Oh, because that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, so this way, so you still lost 2 pounds. It's 2 pounds less than you were before. But it's, for me, and that's why I like these medications. That was a hard 2 pounds. I'm sure you've been hungry for 3 months versus these medications where, yes, you still occasionally get hungry. But overall, you're not constantly thinking about food, and you just finished your grilled chicken and broccoli, and you're like, what's next?
Right. So low carb, if you're eating low carb, that 2 pounds, unfortunately, is probably water and poop.
I don't even think if you're going to do low carb, you got to go keto. Otherwise, you're just miserable. At least in ketosis, a lot of times it helps with appetite control. I mean, you still crave those crunchy things that you just don't get when they're only protein and fat. I'm sorry, the Parmesan chips don't do it.
I was just gonna say I love those Parmesan chips,
but they don't fix that. I want a potato chip craving. They just don't. I've done keto and I like keto. I think it's a very effective diet, but you really got to go very low carb to get in ketosis and stay there. It's not fun for most people.
Yeah, it's not. And the thing is, this is about sustainable and metabolic repair, right? This isn't just about weight loss. That's one of the biggest things. I'm actually, we're creating an AMS services wheel called the Wheel of Fortune because it's kind of fun. And I'm not even putting weight management on there because this is about metabolic repair. This is about years and years of abusing our bodies and trying to reverse that so our bodies learn to use food better and our brains are sane, right? Oh, which brings me to that bipolar comment. Somebody asked if they're bipolar, do I deal with that? Do you mean personally? Because my husband jokes that sometimes yes, but no, I'm not belittling the disease at all. We do not manage high level psychiatric meds. We can refill something if you need it, like for our patients. If you're like, crap, I can't get back to my psychiatrist, I'm going to be out. For us, we believe it is more detrimental for you to stop the medication, so we will keep you on it. But we don't manage conditions like that because that's a kind of a psychiatry issue. Not kind of. It is flat out a psychiatry issue that we can't manage.
That's exactly what I would absolutely go to my psychiatrist to have them manage these meds. I mean, a lot of them are actually using like tirzepatide to help manage the weight gain from psychiatric meds. So I believe that they actually know what they're doing with these meds at this point. I have not seen very many patients get their meds thrown off. I mean, we even had a patient on lithium, which is very difficult to manage even without these medications, who did very well while on the medicines, and his level stayed very stable. But it is possible, depending on where it's absorbed, that it's just not absorbed as well or absorbed more, which is why you're just not having the same feeling that you were having before. So your meds may need to be adjusted a little bit. Dakota's asking, is it a hard stop when they remove it, or is there a grace period? I'm assuming you're meaning the medication.
Or thyroid. Wait,
yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Did I miss something up above?
I don't know. Oh, Cardenas asks, I want to continue on her thread real quick. Look for that.
Oh,
how do I get tirzepatide? My doctor told me I don't qualify. Then your doctor doesn't understand what you're asking for. And I'm not blaming you. Jill actually asked me in our huddle this morning, are you going to be a little less spicy today on the live?
I hope not.
I was like, I'll try. If you come to us at AMS and you say, I have 10 pounds to lose, can I get tirzepatide? 99 providers out of 100 are going to reflexively say no. I will not reflexively say no. I will say, why can't you lose it on your own? What's the problem? And then we find out, oh my God, I've been struggling for 3 months. I've lost 2 pounds. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I can't get anything done. It's running my life. It's ruining my life. Could I please get some help? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. People do not find us by accident.
No, it's more about goals too. Like, is your goal, like your BMI is 20 and your goal is to have a BMI 18.5 and fitness size 0 dress? That's probably not us. But
And that's a
if you,
superficial goal, right?
yeah, or even if like you've done it all by yourself, yourself without the medications, and you're struggling to maintain your weight, and you're like, I'm sick of thinking about food. Oh, okay. We have patients that are literally just on it so they stop thinking about food and can maintain without this 24/7. What's my next meal? I want cookies.
All the time. Yeah. All the time. Okay, hold on. So I got one on YouTube as well. Do you guys have YouTube pulled up?
I do not. That never works for me.
But it came across the restream.
Oh, okay. So it came across the restream, so we don't have to worry about it.
Okay, perfect.
Because I can't find the chat on restream. Because remember, Neil, we did this before.
I had to zoom out, so I don't. I have it like the pictures of us minimized for me to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so there was one. Okay, cool. Lovely one. Hi, I tend to overdo it 5 days after the shot, 5 milligrams. Can I see if it would be helpful if I split the dose 2.5 milligrams first day and 2.5 5 days later? Absolutely. We do that for a lot of patients that like 2.5 is not enough for them, and then 5 is way too much for them. We'll have them split the dose that week to kind of minimize the side effects while still giving us some pretty good appetite suppression. So,
she may need, I'm assuming they may need an extra 2.5. Take the 5 and then take an extra 2.5. Just depends.
But yeah, we're big proponents of splitting doses if you need that. We even have people like, if 2.5 is too much, we have people doing like 1.5, 1.25, because some people are just super sensitive to the medication. Oh, I think Dakota was hard stop when it remove it, or is there a grace period? Got it, ordering ASAP. Yeah, so my understanding, depending what it comes down at, after the 60 days when it was taken off of shortage, it's a hard stop that day. So, but we will see what happens on the 21st, because we don't, after November, we don't know until then for sure. They might keep it off shortage or on shortage a little longer and give us more time, but a lot more questions still.
Yes, lots and lots of questions. I don't think we're live on Facebook. I'm kind of up.
I couldn't find it on Instagram either.
I'm looking. Oh, will you stop, buddy? So today might just be a TikTok and YouTube day until we figure this out. That's okay. Wegovy made me so sick for 4 months. Lost 74 on keto before the shots. Were you still doing keto on Wegovy? Because that'll make you sick as shit. Yeah, that's a. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know on the restreams. So if you're on TikTok and you want to see all 3 of our faces, you got to go to watchdrmo.com. Today we're not on Instagram and not on Facebook. I will see if I can figure that out later. But whatever. Lives are lives. They're bonus. This is why we do this. And we get lots of engagement on TikTok. So, and good job on losing 74 pounds on your own.
Heck yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. It's freaking amazing. I couldn't diet for longer than, and I say diet because you know what I mean. I couldn't diet for longer than like 5 minutes. Toward the end, it was horrible.
Vicky's 2 years on GLP1, down 160 pounds. Fantastic. It's changed her life. She's at the gym now. New lifestyle.
Nice.
And sometimes that's what it takes. Like, I mean, in the beginning with Mounjaro coupon, like I had patients that couldn't go to the gym until they were down like 40, 50 pounds. They just didn't feel comfortable and didn't have the motivation. But once they saw what they could do, very motivating for them.
All right, let's see. We got lots of.
TSH was 6. It only meant over 10. Oh God, I hope not.
Kiki said supplementing creatine, does the increased water weight resolve? Weight is up 4 pounds. No, that'll be your water weight until that's it. But your muscles work better. You should have more energy. Your brain is healthier and happier. So you're just going to have to kind of suck it up with those 4 pounds. Now, I do understand you don't like bloated can of biscuits because that's what I feel like right now. I started eating more real food, and unfortunately, I ate it at the same volume as the processed food, and that's a terrible idea. I'm like, oh, that was, and part of it was we ate dinner last night, and it was like the kind of last big dinner before my company leaves, and we had steak and fish and sweet potatoes and vegetables, you know, and I needed about a third of what I ate. But I didn't have heartburn because it wasn't processed, which is pretty amazing. I just, if I just look like I still have a uterus and it's full. Stop it. We're not bringing people on to go live on TikTok, just so you know, especially if you're a lurker and a troll. And say what you want in the comments, because, we love the haters, because the haters get us more views. And often we help the haters, which is even more fun. All right, what do we got? And thank you. Look at all those diamonds. Sophia. Oh my God, little Sophia. Okay, so you guys have to hear this. Sophia said, "You and my mom, Chastity, are friends. Hope you're well." Sophia was a little baby when you know where they're from? MCO in Toledo. It's not even MCO anymore. You know this. 1,000,000 years ago, Sophia, it's very good to meet you. Because, I met you, but you were like, teeny tiny. Oh, that makes my day.
We got a couple.
In regards to reset metabolic and get a better handle on gut microbiome. Hold on there. I think it was.
There was part, yeah. Thoughts on prebiotics, probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys go first.
Well, I like supplementing supplementing. I just like intaking things like, why is it flying on my head? The drink.
AG1? No.
No.
Kombucha.
Thank you. Yeah, kombucha. Trying to find those natural, but like food-based sources, intake-based sources.
Oh, I like the word food-based. Right.
Yeah. If possible, but there's a time and a place for certainly the pill-based prebiotics, probiotics, that kind of stuff, especially when taking antibiotics, to make sure that you don't kill off so much good stuff. And I would say that, like, the greens probably play a role in that as well, because we are significantly on these medicines decreasing variety of whole fresh fruits and vegetables. You just can't. There's just not the room. So certainly any way that you can get a variety of your microbiome increased, I think, is a good thing. So that's my thoughts. I ummed a lot through that. My husband would be ashamed.
Well, hey, you know what? I had a Reuben the other day. Does that count? It had sauerkraut.
I love it. Yeah. No, I think fermented things, and yeah, absolutely. I think it's great.
I screwed up on the Instagram thing. There was one little step. There's one thing I didn't understand in the directions. I just looked. I'm like, shoot, user error. Is anyone surprised? No, absolutely not. Okay, so sorry. We will go live on Instagram next time for sure.
This one up top, Cindy, on 10 mLs of semaglutide, 4 weeks down 19, supposed to titrate to 20 mils. Is it okay to stay on 10 mLs? I'm assuming you mean units, and depending on what your concentration is, kind of depends on what your dose is. But for my patients, if they're having appetite control for 6-7 days on the dose they're on, there is no reason to increase the dose. Especially if you're still losing and your appetite's controlled, you're just risking more side effects for nothing really. So it was me. I stayed on the first dose, the 0.25 milligrams of semaglutide, for about 7 weeks, and then 7 weeks on the next dose up. And I never really needed to go any higher than that. I was one of the lucky people with that. But yep, nope, stay as low as you can, as long as you can. Gets expensive.
Yeah, it does, for sure. Our electrolytes needed. Hi, Beth, by the way. Beth is one of my future coaching clients, because we're going to make her life amazing.
Nice.
But she said, are electrolytes needed if you're not sick? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not eating, so you're not getting the electrolytes and other minerals and everything like that in your food anymore. So you need them, get them from somewhere. So the easiest way is to drink them, since you need to stay hydrated anyway. Usually it makes people feel better, gives them energy. If they get the weird tingly sensations in the skin, it kind of helps resolve that. And the best one, before everybody asks, it's whichever one you'll drink, whether it's Gatorade Zero, Pedialyte, Gator Light. What's the other one you guys like? Body Armor Light.
Body Armor.
Any of them.
So
you got to drink them. Liquid IV.
I have a coaching client who does not like artificial sweeteners, and I've got a couple of dudes in my house that I have dudes that normally live in my house that have no problem with artificial sweeteners. But the Europeans, on the other hand, do not like artificial sweeteners. They taste completely foreign to them. Excuse the pun. But he's like, oh my God, this is so sweet. It's horrible. So, but for one of my clients, though, I'm actually going to get powdered coconut water because she travels all the time. And I'm thinking so here's what I'm on Amazon now screwing around because I'm like, oh, I bet we could do this. You can get powdered coconut water, which would be great because of the potassium. I'd probably add a little bit more sodium once I look at the composition. But you can also get powdered pineapple, like literally just powdered pineapple juice. So it's dehydrated pineapple juice. So I bet there's a good ratio. You could like take it, you know what I mean? That way you can put it in packets yourself, take it, travel with it. And it has literally nothing not natural, right? It's literally dehydrated coconut water and dehydrated pineapple. So it'd be like my own version of Body Armor Light without the additives and stuff.
Okay.
So you're like, why the frig bother? I'm like, because if she travels, you know.
Yeah, and you can always do with those like the fake salts that have potassium and and in them as well. So
yes. But the coconut water should have a decent amount of potassium because that's why I was drinking it in the beginning when I couldn't get the calories in. Now that's if you need to. I've got to pin this comment from Francis. But like, okay, don't worry about getting the calories in. And I know I said this on a live the other day. I did an impromptu live on TikTok the other day. Oh, that was the issue. Okay, I figured out the issue with Instagram. I just can't fix it. Whatever, carry on. So don't worry about getting the calories in. Like Neil said, protein. Sip on a protein shake. I've started to do my Spango smoothie again. And I mean, if you're on watchdrmo.com, Amanda's got her little core power. We're sipping today because I overate the shit out of food last night. So I'm like, well, nothing's going anywhere. But Francis said, let me know what I should be eating. If you just started a GLP-1, this was my most popular video on TikTok 2 years ago. I want you to eat whatever the frig you want for a month. Like if you don't want to eat for a couple of days, I don't give a shit. Do electrolytes, sip on a protein shake, and that's it. And if you're like, yes, wow, really? See, I love that. And that's controversial. I don't give a shit if you don't eat for 24 hours, don't care. People fast all the time when they're trying to lose weight, right? But all of a sudden we do it on a GLP-1 and everybody loses their shit. I'm like, people will do literally 7-day fasts for religious reasons or whatever else, or because, we're losing weight. Jason Fung has this thing where he has his overweight diabetics fast for like 7 days. Nobody bats an eyelash. You're on a GLP-1 and you don't eat for 4 hours and everybody flips a lid, right? And I'm like, no, just sip on your coconut water, sip on your Body Armor Light, sip on a protein shake. Let your body eat the fat that you have stored for, if you're me, many, many years. I could piss a lot of people off with that one, but you know what? And I do trust Jason Fung as well. So it's kind of like the same sort of principle, right? Don't worry about shoving food in your mouth. Eat whatever you want. A couple of grapes. In the beginning, I swear to God, it was like, oh, never mind. And my family was pissed. My husband was very angry at me. We would go out. Oh, good question, Beth. I'm pinning this one.
I was going to say she asked your favorite question.
She did. No, because I fell into this. Amanda was I fell into that whole thing with starve mode, right? Starvation mode. Oh my God. Yeah, no, not a thing. And I'll fully admit I was wrong. And the good news was it was what, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, probably 15. I haven't known Amanda past 15 years. So sometime within the last 15 years, I really thought starvation mode was a thing because the evidence presented in the way it was presented was very compelling. It's like when you watch a documentary because it's all emotional. However, you could fast for 72 hours and it drops your metabolism by a whopping 8%. And I can't use my calculator on my phone. So say your BMR is, so the amount, like laying in bed, your energy expenditure is 1,300 calories. It drops that by 130 calories. That's it after 3 days of not eating. Not a big deal, right? So we worry about starvation mode and it's really not a thing. Now you're going to hit you need a sweet spot because you're going to have no energy. You're not going to want to do anything. So there's a sweet spot But in the beginning, when you started GLP-1, you might have low energy for a little bit, or you might not, because most of it's mental, right? So if you want to push through it, I mean, Neil, you're probably a great example of that. You weren't, it's not like you were pounding food, but you still went to the gym and worked out, right?
Yep. Still did. And still had pretty good workouts until I got really close to my goal weight. Is the only time I really kind of felt fatigued. I mean, sometimes you don't want to go. Just I went and started, and I felt fine.
And hydration is really important because everyone, I hear a lot about that 1 to 2 days after the shot, and I really go back to pound some electrolytes. I had an in-person patient yesterday who she is seeing her primary doctor for Zepbound, and I mean, just no guidance. And I was like, look, you've got to hydrate. The day you take the shot, do a liquid IV, but front load your electrolytes, because your thirst drive is taken down just as much, if not more, than your food drive. So you have to have it there and have it available and force it a little bit, and so many people feel so much better with just the hydration.
I'm going to sit here and have this look on my face because I pinned Frances's comment that her doctor said that grapes, by the way, I had a grandma Frances who, that's why I love the name Frances, but whatever. Doctor said grapes are the same sugar as a Hershey bar, so now I don't know what the hell to eat. Way to confuse the shit out of your patients. I know Neil's shaking his head. You should see.
I mean, yeah, technically they're still carbohydrates. I mean,
right. Technically it's carbohydrates, but that grape has water, vitamins, fiber. Like, that's the whole point, is it's in a package that's less nutrient dense. Trust me, I am very intimate with chocolate. Okay. We go way back.
And it's not highly processed. That's the other big difference.
I mean, they washed it, hopefully, or somebody washed it. And that's about it, right? Picked it, washed it, and delivered it to the grocery store where, you hopefully had a good grape picker on Instacart. That's
Holly, I sure hope carbonated water is okay, because otherwise I'm in trouble.
So yes, carbonated water is easy for me to drink. There are some studies that suggest that it might leach calcium from your bones and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, big fucking rocks, people. Stop scaring the shit out of people for stupid things.
Well, then if you're changing a whole bunch of other stuff in your life, like when you get on the medication and you're changing your diet, if you just don't change like the diet soda you're drinking right now, that's fine. Like, you don't have to change everything today. Just like you don't necessarily have to go start working out today. It'd be ideal, but you don't have to do it. Like,
or you could go for a walk around the block. Bonus.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Change one thing at a time.
And the thing is too, right? So again, the things that are most important to not do are the things you don't want to tell people you do. Okay? Let's call this right out. You're drinking a bottle of wine every night. You're not going to lose weight. You're not going to sleep well. Your stress is going to be increased because your stress hormones are going to be through the roof. Your body has to manage the poison of alcohol. Liver, when I say body, I mean liver, really, has to manage the alcohol before it even uses your food appropriately. So a lot of these people that are asking, not you guys, like I'm not saying, but when people ask questions of, should I take a probiotic, right? Do we have bigger rocks that we could address here? Because don't forget, although those things are important, right? And you want to hit fermented foods. And I like kombucha because it's nice to sip on, helps my gut. It's a nice relaxing thing at the end of the day, whatever. But big rocks, right? If I'm pounding a bag of Hershey's Kisses every day, leaving the mound of those little silver wrappers next to me, right? Not much else matters, right? Let's be real. It's the things you don't want to tell people. And I get it. But LaCroix is probably not your culprit. Does what make me nauseous? Everything makes me nauseous. No, on Tuesdays, Tuesdays, yes, everything makes me nauseated on Tuesdays. Appetite Tuesday, man. It's Manjaro Monday. It's when I take my shot. So on Tuesday, I feel like green usually.
Hit this one here. Mrs. Me still has about 80 pounds to go. She's on 12.5 for 5 months, no losses, and has food noise. Is it smart to go to 15 milligrams? I think that's your best option, is to increase. Typically, I increase my patients when they have no appetite control and or too much food noise. So if you're not losing at this point after 12 and a half or 5 months, it's probably safe to go up.
Well, and also the big rocks again, hit the protein goal. And if you're not feeling full, do it with whole food sources. Don't use a protein shake if you need to fill up.
Yeah.
Um,
Chicken. Ugh. And I ate food yesterday. Don't get me wrong. All right, this one I gotta grab. Hubby says I can do it with diet and exercise alone, but I need Ozempic to help. To do it to help. I'm in menopause. So first of all, we always use menopause as an excuse. We are metabolically fucked up from years of abuse. Okay, so it just happens that once we get enough money to sit on our butts a little bit more, it's happened. The hormonal changes happen. It's just a big shit show. So I hid my Manjaro in the fridge for 3 weeks, wrapped up in paper towels, because I was embarrassed to tell my husband that I was cheating. I'm sorry, I'm laughing out loud. Because I couldn't do it alone. Like, does your history say you can do it alone? Mine sure as shit didn't. I mean, I had hit a point where literally, it wasn't even binging anymore. It was constant eating all the time. Like I would stop eating long enough to free up enough food in my stomach, which you know how big your stomach can stretch. I mean, if those of you who are in this room, who are we listening to? Give me 1 second. Is this live? Yes, it is. Absolutely.
That sounds like we need to reintroduce.
Yeah. Let's reintroduce because we got lots of people. And I'm going to have Neil give you his spiel on this in a second, but let's reintroduce for 1 second. So I'm Dr. Mo, and I'm here with Amanda and Neil, who are other providers at Active Medical Solutions at amstelehealth.com. If you want to see their faces, if you want to see their faces live, you got to go to watchdrmo.com. TikTok did not give me a streaming key. I was not in one of those groups. And I don't know how to get one, so this is how we do this. It's just how we make it work. If you want to be our patient, check out our states, go to amstelehealth.com. If you want my coaching, go to drmocoaching.com. Super ingenious there. Really original. So, but back to the cheating thing. Neil, I love Neil's story of, do you wear shoes? Because it's kind of cheating, you know?
How do you eat? Is someone saying that to you? Did they go into the woods with a knife they made from a rock that they sharpened and killed the deer and then cut them up and ate them that way? Because if they're not doing that, that's the same thing as what they're saying you're doing. That's cheating. It's really that simple. You know, did they weave their own clothes that they're wearing? No.
Shearing the sheep, right? No. Nope. Spinning the cotton. Nope.
Did they drive to work in their car that they didn't make? Probably.
With an energy source that they did not create or refine or what, you know.
I don't think it's cheating at all. Is it easier? Yeah. But so is driving the car to work instead of walking.
I mean, seriously, if you get cancer and your doctor prescribes chemotherapy because you've discussed it, risks, benefits, because there's a lot of risks with chemotherapy, right? I mean, the goal is to kill the cancer before it kills you first. And you and your doctor decide that the risk is worth, or the risk is worth the benefit. Is that cheating to get rid of the cancer using medication? My answer is no. So I got very bad bronchitis with Ozempic. I didn't know that could be a side effect. It isn't a side effect that is known to us for sure, or at least me. I'll speak for myself. Because Ozempic decreases inflammation. So that's where I'm sort of confused. Are you sure you just didn't get sick? Like, how long did it last? Did you have like pulmonary function tests? I don't know. I'm thinking on this, but I want to make sure we hit it because I don't know.
I can't make a connection on that one.
Can't either.
Yeah, me neither. A real man, I'm on Manjaro 2.5 going in week 3 tomorrow. I was surprised at how fast I felt being full. Congrats on being an early responder.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love that. So when I took 2.5 the first day, I'm going on and I'm so sorry to you guys because you guys are so sick of the story, but whatever. I took it and literally 6 hours later, I was like, I have no desire to eat and I don't give a shit about food for the first time in my entire life.
However, I took a little bit longer. So if you're out there and you're not a rapid responder, keep the faith. There is a dose for you. So
Hold on. That's fantastic. I'm pinning this one. I kept mine in a Kodiak pancake box for 6 months before I told the hubby. These are great. This is fantastic. And he's probably like, wow, what are you doing, honey? You look great. You're like, I'm eating Kodiak pancakes, man, every day.
Well, mine was a little different. I didn't hide it at all. I literally hide nothing from my husband, but it took him that long to be convinced to do it with me because he really needed it as well, and has now crossed more than 60 pounds of weight loss. He no longer has sleep apnea. He still has joint pain, unfortunately, but I think that's his joints are not the average joints. But overall life significant
quality.
I mean, a lot better.
Okay.
But no, he still has, you know.
I mean, you know me. I'm not like.
Oh, sure. But yeah, indulgences here and there, but obviously, you know, significantly less of them. But yeah, his joints are a physical nightmare, not just an inflammation nightmare. So.
Oh yeah. So if you're already like bone on bone and got meniscal tears and all that shit, then yeah, it's
Dr. Randy, you can bring the residents in and say, "Come listen to these knees."
Right. So. Hold on. UTI is a side effect, not with these drugs.
Unless you're dehydrated.
Well, unless you're dehydrated.
Secondary side effect potentially, because if you're drying yourself out.
Shoot, the SGLT2 drugs do cause sugar to be, if you're diabetic, they cause sugar to be pumped out, but you're not going to be on those drugs for metabolic and weight management. Hold on one second. The constipation. I'm like, no, somebody asked about constipation. We are talking about poop.
Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about poop in weeks.
I know.
We used to talk about poop every single call. In the beginning, I was on Miralax and Colace and all the things, right? Make sure you're hydrated. But the thing is, your food volume is a lot lower. Your fiber volume by nature is going to get low. So I had to be on I was on Miralax for 6 months probably until like my body re-equilibrated. And now I take AG1. And I don't remember when I started. I kind of wish I did. I could probably look and see when I ordered it. Well, it was Ironman, Texas. Because I started because Kat Matthews dumped a bunch at my doorstep. So there you go. So April. So I've been on 6 months. So AG1 helps my guts because I'm constipated by nature. I know, TMI. It's the internet. Whatever. This is not new, right? 50 years of this shit or no shit. So yeah, AG1 helps me a lot, but it wouldn't. I mean, maybe it would have helped in the beginning, but in the beginning, I needed Miralax and Colace.
And I think the Grunes are helping just as well.
Yeah, any kind of greens. I'm not a salesperson for AG1. I asked them to sponsor me. They said thanks, no thanks, and I'm like, all right, fine. I'll still use your product because it's really good. And it's good for me.
I want to catch Chase story. Took my shot yesterday, woke up at 4 a.m. nauseous and threw up acid and bile. I didn't think before that it mattered when you took your shot. However, I have a local friend / patient that she changed from morning dosing to evening dosing, I think it was. It doesn't matter which one she changed from or to, but try that because it just affected her peak, I think, enough so that she was waking up, vomiting, and she said she changed, I think it was from morning to evening for dosing. And if he's doing evening, maybe change from evening to morning and just move your peak.
Yeah, because if it's evening and it hits you quickly, you're going to be laying down with the food that you ate the night before. So it's going to sit there and come right back up.
Yeah.
I mean, I always take it in the morning, but I also don't peak until the next day. So I can eat too much on Mondays and then regret the hell out of it on Tuesday.
Yeah, if you're having that issue at night, right, and make sure it's a light meal.
Yeah. Mine thought I was doing B12 shots. Nice. All right. I'm like, this topic to me is cracking me the hell up. All right.
There was a question about like they just started working out and the next day they can barely move their arms. What helps with the soreness? Hydration. And then typically I tell people that have not been working out for a long period of time, and even people who it's been like a month, 2 months, very, very slowly, depending on what you do for the day. I tell people, like even like my wife, like when it's been a while, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to the gym. We're gonna do a circuit of the machines, like 1, maybe 2 sets, and we're done. That's it. Like you're not gonna fix everything in one day, but if you train too hard that first couple of times, you're gonna be so sore that you're never gonna go back, because you're like, I'm sore for a week or 10 days. And it does get better. After a week or two of training again, it dramatically improves. Just the biggest thing is don't overdo it.
Which
You
is
will
hard
regret it.
when you start
Yeah.
feeling good and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna go do this. And you're like yesterday I went swimming for the second time in a week. I swam 2,000 yards, did my own workout. In the middle of it, I'm like, my coach is an asshole. This sucks. I wrote it. But I wrote it before I got there on purpose. Then I lifted this morning and I lifted back this morning. I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, this was a terrible idea. But it's and like Neil said, hydration, especially with electrolytes. I get upper back pain anyway when I get dehydrated on these drugs, not without them. It's so freaking weird. I don't know. I don't get it. And I'm a doctor, so there's that. It works, but it ain't magic. It does come with side effects. Hell yeah, right? It's not magic. Well, it's the closest thing to magic I'm ever going to find. But you do have to manage some things, right? Like you can't just eat willy-nilly.
Well, and there's still work to be done while you're on the medications. They're
Correct.
not magic for everybody. For some people, they absolutely are. Other people, you still have to do some work, make your meals, make sure you're getting protein, hydrate, exercise, and some people have to count calories, but this makes it tremendously easier.
Yep. And I'm one of those people who has to count calories, not because I'm counting calories, but because when I don't track, I am not intentional with what I'm eating. I abuse my body still. I mean, that's 50 years neural pathways, guys. Like, it's not going to go away overnight, which brings me to Andrea Boss's question of, I'm almost at my goal weight. What does maintenance look like? Should I consider staying on it? Some people go off and keep losing weight even when they're not on it. I have literally 48 years, well, 50, because I still do stupid shit with food sometimes. Just way less. And my body can tolerate it more. I can't come off and achieve what I'm achieving. I can't make the progress. Like Neil said, there's still work to be done. I still have a lot of work to be done that is unrelated to my goal weight. And I've been at my goal weight for a year and a half. I'm still doing the work, a lot of freaking work.
Yeah, but you're not counting calories to lose weight. You're counting calories as a tool to help you manage everything.
Yes. Intentional. Make sure I get my vegetables in, make sure I get my fruits in, make sure I get my protein in. I'm actually going to start focusing on making sure I get my fiber in, stuff like, again, it's true. Like you said, it's management. This is management of a chronic disease like anything else. And my disease is both physical, mental, I guess, and emotional, whichever you want to slice it. Right. And it is.
I want to pick up Cindy because I think we might have missed one time. The haters told me 19 pounds lost at first wasn't fat. It was inflammation and water. Is that true?
If you're 400 pounds, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, 19 is a lot. So
the haters are going to hate.
Part of it, but
yeah, some's inflammation, some's water, especially if you're not eating as well, you're losing a lot of water. So but you're still losing fat. You're not, I'm assuming, like, if you were going from eating 5,000 calories a day to eating 800 calories a day, you're losing fat. Yeah,
your body's got to run on something, and it's heavy. So it's going to run. It's a big truck, right? It's still a pickup truck. We're not at the Civic yet. So,
There's this question. Rosilla, suppression decreased after 7.5, moved up to 10 and no suppression. Am I building a tolerance? I'd really like to know this in the studies if this happened to a lot more people, because we've seen it time and time again, 7 to 10, and people go back to 7 to have better suppression. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it happens all the time. People are like, they're doing great on 7, move to 10. They're like, this sucks. I can't do this.
I mean, is there something in the lab where they're mixing it before they like fill the things that like someone missed the decimal point?
Right. Like 7.5 is magic.
Yeah. Like, is it a little higher dose and the 10 is a little lower dose?
Compounded too, right?
It happens on compounded as well for our patients. It's so bizarre. Now, like me, on the other hand, though, I go from 5 to 7.5, depending on what I'm doing. And 7.5 is very effective for me.
And there's lots of questions about what app you guys like for tracking.
I still use my FitnessPal.
Yeah, me too. I like my FitnessPal because I'm old and I changed so many things in my life that I just can't change one more. Like, listen, it's a blankie. I still use Training Peaks. Now, I did switch from my Garmin to my Apple Watch for swim, so that's a big deal.
Oh, wow.
I know. mostly because I don't feel like taking it off. It's
That's
just
a big
that's
deal.
laziness. Yeah, I know. I do have my Garmin for races because the touchscreen I don't like for races, but for actual like regular workouts. Oh my god, I love this. Sorry. Semaglutide has been amazing for me. I've had bulimia my whole adult life and was still overweight. Number one, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you. Because a lot of people, you know, that these medications are often poo-pooed for, that was a terrible word, but because they're actually contraindicated in some sources with eating disorders. And I think it does a huge disservice to people with eating disorders. And I don't just mean binge eating disorder. Although I wish they would approve it for that, because I can almost guarantee that if you started an anorexic on this medication, it would help them. And I know that's controversial as hell. And I'm not saying just to do that. And I won't do it because their body mass index is so low. And I can't control the actual mental back end of that in telehealth for sure. But because I'm a binger and I'm a restrictor, right? I do both. And I've gone through my whole life going underweight, overweight, underweight, overweight, just over and over again, because restricting is a high for me as well. So if I don't get that high, that feedback, that reward from control, and it interrupts that cycle and lets me actually eat with moderation like a normal human. But, you know, that's not something I'm ever going to do for a patient because that's just, I can't prove it. And I'm not, you know, it's not something I'm do. But it's just, I think that it has so many things that it can do in our brains for addiction. But anyway, so thank you for being vulnerable. Neil, grab the how often can you take Lipo B shots?
Lipo B, it is in the beginning, like the first month, you can do it 1 to 2 times a week. After that, it's weekly. And then I would highly suggest after like a first vial or maybe like 2 or 3 months of treatment that you have your levels checked, because your B12 level can get pretty high. And for short term, it doesn't really matter. But after long term, with the B12 being high, you can actually cause nerve problems that are permanent. So typically, I'd recommend doing it like for those first couple months, taking a week or 2 off, and then having your level checked. If it's high, I would not go back on them for a while until it's back somewhat to normal. And then theoretically, if it's really, really that high, I don't know how much you're actually getting out of the B12.
We miss Jeanette. Sometimes after injecting, I notice a small drop of medicine on the skin. I'm very careful. It happens.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yep. Carry on. You're doing it right.
Me too. Someone somewhere, I missed it, said that the box takes up too much space in there. Just take the shots out.
Oh yeah, take the shots out. Mine are in a Fortnite lunchbox.
Don't keep the box. Box goes right in the garbage. Or recycle.
But we missed something, and I can't find the top part. Does a vibration plate count as exercise? Not in my book.
No, I kind of know what that was. I was kind of reading about it. It says it loses weight, but it doesn't really tell you, like, do you lose weight, like fat or muscle mass? It really can't tell. So
I think it probably helps your GI tract move because it is movement like walking, right? And I think it's more of that. But the FDA released the ban on AOD 9604.
Well, basically, they took it off the level 2 list or the level 2 watch list, so it's not on watch anymore. So it's not considered dangerous, I guess, per se. I don't know if anybody's going to carry it again, or if they still have their. I mean, if they have their stock and it's still sitting in their, little freezer, they might bring it back out. It looks like it has some potential. Like, the risks are very, very low. I didn't really see much in the way of side effects, and it does have some potential for weight loss. So I don't see it being a problem to add it.
But my thing is, I would just optimize your dose of the GLP.
Correct.
Primarily, like, it's like blood pressure. You add one medicine to optimize, and once you're there, you're at the max, then you add a second medication. You don't. It's one thing. Do one thing. Focus on. Hold on. Focus on one course until successful. Right. It's the same principle. Sorry, I couldn't remember the words.
That's good. And I think, like, cost-wise, I think it was relatively expensive. And if you're in a middle dose of, like, let's say semaglutide, I would rather cost-wise go up on the semaglutide than spend way more money on something else that we're not sure. Like, the studies are kind of like, some say it's really great, some's like, And I think at the end of the day, if it was really that amazing, it would have had way more traction. Like,
Yeah.
the GLP1s do. So me, yes, I would absolutely stick with the GLP1s first. Now, if I was maxed out on semaglutide, not working, watching my macros, eating my protein, exercising, and I'm kind of stuck, that's where I'd consider adding it.
Yeah, that's different.
And even then, if I was on semaglutide, I'd probably switch to tirzepatide first.
Yeah, I would too, because that's not, it's a better drug.
Yes.
And, Becky said, I'm afraid to ask my doctor today to be put on this. Give me their number. I'll ask them. I'll call them. What's interesting? I just thought about this. I wonder if people, because a lot of people do telehealth, right? And we know that, males use it for erectile dysfunction and the other embarrassing things, right? But here's my thought. I wonder if people do this on telehealth because they don't want to go face to face with their doctor and say, here's where I am, help me. Well, granted, or you could have an experience like what happened with my doctor. Somebody asked how much I lost, like 50 pounds, 49 today. Yes, but we're at 50 to 55, depending on the day. But what happened with my doctor is, I went in, asked for help, and I didn't get it. So you run the risk of that for sure. But if you go to people like us, we're going to help you. Like what we think about it. We think about it. So I think that's kind of a cool thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, go ask him. Worst he says is no. And then if, depending on how you have the relationship with him, I would just say find a new doctor. Or if you like him for a lot of other things, keep him and then find like a telehealth provider that can do this for you.
So
come see us.
Hold on. Broderick got spicy for me. Why are you afraid? Are you afraid of cutting your life expectancy? Because people will say, well, I'm afraid of cancer, right? Or afraid they don't take the medications because I'm afraid of cancer, or I'm afraid of, I don't know, whatever, pick a thing. But we do behaviors all the time that are risky. Everything has a risk benefit.
I guess that's one option. When you ask why, basically tell them like, well, I want to decrease my risk of stroke, heart attack, cancer, like
liver,
you name it. I want to decrease my risk of it. Why have you not read up on this? I'm sorry.
I know, right?
This is the future. It's time that your doctor learns about these medications. They're not going away, and there's only more of them coming out with additional receptors. So, learn them now.
Cardina, Did you see that?
No.
It's your favorite.
And yes.
Oh man, that didn't work.
Start at the lowest dose. Hold on.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It's all the way at the bottom. It's the newest one.
Oh, hold on. Fuck me. Oh, I know. I know. Cardenas, I hear you. And I don't know your first name. I'm sorry. I went to my doctor 2 months after, April, May, June, July, 2.5 months after completing 2/3 of an Ironman, because I wasn't strong enough to get through the bike in the wind and I was heavy. In those 2.5 months, I also put on 15 pounds after the Ironman. And he said, eat less and move more. And do you belong to a church? and I did. I do. And I'm also in 12 steps. So, my higher power and I were kind of rocking it, except for the fact that I could not get food sober working the steps. You know what? And I know I was in a meeting this week, and I actually asked them about anonymity and how I can discuss this, because, at the level of radio and TV, I'm like, guys, so what does this mean for social media? And I'm like, fine, I'm just going to share my experience and people can take it or leave it. I don't care. This has allowed me to finally work the program I've been trying to work for 20 years and couldn't do it, because 12 steps isn't about the food. It's about the life, right? If it was, it would not be used for every addiction out there. It's about how to live without your drug of choice. I could never get without my drug of choice. So I wasn't strong enough. Anyhow. So eat less and move more. I'm sure you haven't tried that ever.
Yeah. We got a couple of good ones. First, on YouTube, my GP tried to help, but seeing him once every 6 months made it difficult to see any progress, and he never suggested GLP1. Yeah.
Because he doesn't know about them.
Yeah. Because he's
Docs out there. You got to learn about these meds, man. Sorry.
Yes.
Help your patients out.
Help your patients.
And then I want to hit Cardenas. She said, this all started after I got a contraception implant. Yes, unfortunately, the implant is not weight neutral. IUD would be considered weight neutral, and if you would consider it, I would consider changing, because the implant and the injection both have a pretty significant percentage of people that will gain a significant amount of weight and make it very difficult to lose, because the progesterone is delivered to the whole body, not just the uterus. There you go.
So there's a couple of questions about like dosing and when to go up or it's not working. So yes, for diabetes, the low doses are what we'd call escalation doses, to kind of get blood glucose control. For weight loss, I see them as more, where are your effective doses? So 0.25 might be your effective dose for semaglutide, and you don't need to increase the dose if it is effective for you. For some people, it is an escalation dose for weight loss, and you do need to go up in dose, and you need to find your dose. Some people won't lose anything at the first 2 or 3 lower doses, and they need to get to like 1 or 1.7 of semaglutide before they see anything, or 7.5 and let's say 10 milligrams of tirzepatide before they see great results and great appetite control. Everybody's a little bit different, and that's why it's super important for your care on these medications to be individualized and not just every 4 weeks you go up. Sometimes people are forced to go up because their doctor's like, nope, that's what they say, and it's way too much for them, and they quit and they lose out on this amazing drug. So at the end of the day, like, it really needs to be individualized for you. Go up when you need to go up. Stay there if you're ready. If you get great support and you don't need to go up.
Yeah, or if you can't afford to go up, what can I do to make this work? You know, you need to be able to talk to your provider about, and it's not the patient's fault, right? It's not a good fit between patient and provider. I'd like to say it's not the provider's fault, but Neil's been calling me out on that, so it is.
They're busy, and I get it. They have so much other crap to do. And I was reading a post from a family practice doctor who's like, he's like, patients don't understand how much work this is. He spent 3 hours trying to do a PA for a patient, you know, from the paperwork and sending it in and making the phone call, getting through their phone tree to finally be told he has to make an appointment for a peer-to-peer. And then he waits 15 minutes for the doctor to show up for the peer-to-peer, who basically looks at like, okay, approved. Why did I need to get on the phone with you to approve it when you just literally looked at it? I didn't answer a question for you. Like, it's just
because they make you jump through hoops. That's why when I do the call for the PAs, that's why I have the staff set it up now if we need to do a peer-to-peer, because you have to sit on the phone for an hour and a half to even get them to make an appointment.
So with that, I get why they don't want to do PAs for these. I mean, they're already like, you know, the clinics are telling them you got to see 800 patients a day. You have 5 minutes per patient.
Yeah, they can't do it. There's no way they
just can't do it.
They don't support outsourcing. They don't support buying back your time. They don't support systems at all. And somebody said their doctor said obesity is not real. I'm like, that's actually, I think, malpractice.
It's not real. Your appendicitis isn't real. It's not happening.
Like that, boy, I can't. Like, I get angry.
Like, what does that even mean?
Well, what you're probably saying is that obesity is not really a disease. You're just a moral failure because you can't stop eating. And this is probably the kind of person that says an alcoholic should just stop drinking, or a heroin addict should just stop doing drugs because they should know better. If my frontal lobe was driving the bus, we wouldn't be in this issue.
Here's a good question. On Remicade for ulcerative colitis, does it cause weight gain? I'm assuming you're talking about these meds. This should actually, so we have a lot of patients with UC. This has helped them kind of go in remission and decrease kind of the other medications that they're having to take to stay in remission, like the Remicade.
Courtney's on TikTok.
What's that?
Courtney's on TikTok. Sorry.
Oh, hey, Court. But now it helps regulate this so much better. Your friend has UC, irritable bowel, something, and like this is the first drug that actually kind of helped manage like her symptoms, even at a really, really low dose after the weight loss was done. Like half of a normal dose.
Yeah. She said it's helped her UC. So I love this. So obviously not a good doctor or not a caring person. That's a good question, because I think the number one is they're uninformed. Uninformed or drowning in a system that has them pushed so far down that they can't breathe, right? Because you have to remember that first and foremost, patients are what humans, providers are what humans, and probably patients. Like, they need help, right? We need help out of burnout. We need help out of all the things. They can't even like breathe. They can't get a grip. Like, they're getting paid $5 to see a patient to do 2 hours of work. And I'm not exaggerating in some cases.
Well, and then let's say the patient doesn't get their labs drawn and doesn't take their meds, and they're, and doesn't get a follow-up. Now they don't get paid for that patient at all.
Right. Because the insurance company says you've got to do these things, and if they don't follow up, then they don't pay them. So, okay, who's got background noise? Because somebody said
I hear
background.
something too. It's not me. I'm eerily quiet back here today.
Hold on, let me.
That went away. Well, now
Mo's muted.
Here, let me do this.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, that's weird.
It went away.
I just muted and unmuted and it went away.
Okay, whatever works.
I don't know. Is it plugged in? Yeah. So, okay, I would have done that a long time ago. Had to figure that out. But I'm like, if I do that, I mute myself. So that doesn't work. Anyway.
I thought you had cicadas.
I'm like, okay. So sorry about, yeah, it did sound like a million crickets. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Locusts? Is it like the end of the world? Is this is this how it ends? Really?
Okay, but before we go, I have to know what is behind Neil.
It's
he's a werewolf going.
Yeah, it's a werewolf. What are my animatronics for Halloween?
Okay,
I ran out of space inside for some of my animatronics, so he's outside in the window. So when you at night when you walk by the window, he's
I have
like little lights below him, so he just eerily glows.
Gotcha. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. You're welcome. Thank you for making me. I don't even know I don't understand. But so next time this happens, remind me. Just mute that. So shit. Okay, whatever. I know we take antibiotics and other meds to fight sickness. So that's the thing. So in the 70s, I know we're going over. I don't care. My call's not till 11:30. In the 70s, Medicare and Medicaid, which is where insurance is based off of, deemed obesity a cosmetic disease. 50 years ago. Now, granted, doctors were also smoking at the bedside 50 years ago, and we thought that was okay. They weren't wearing gloves to deliver babies. People were dying. I think they wore gloves by then. Actually, it was before that. But, when I was born, there were no ventilators for babies, right? Well, there were no ventilators, period. I say that because I was 9 weeks early. And they just threw me in an incubator and said, hope it goes well. It went okay. The one thing I've seen in medicine time and time again is that we're not good at change. AMS telehealth does not take insurance. We will help you with your PA. If you come on after November 1st, we don't charge for PAs. Our rates are going up. We don't charge because we know we're going to have to shift to more brand name. So we will help you with a PA if you need it, if your insurance will cover. Now, we're not going to do PAs willy-nilly. You're still required to call your insurance. And if it's because they'll tell you it is not on the plan, it's not with a PA, it's not going to get covered. Don't waste your time. Okay. They'll tell you flat out. So, and we'll help you work with that too. Do we need to do semaglutide? Do we need to add medications? What do we need to do? That's what we do. We find solutions. That's the whole point. So we try to work as much as we can outside of the system to get you the best results within the system. Because, hey, if your insurance covers it, we're all for it. Please.
What was the question?
Oh, here, Gabby's question was, can I stop Monjaro for a month and go back to lowest dose to break a stall? Because I think there's another question too. So if you technically are off the medication for more than 2 weeks, the manufacturer recommends going back down to the lowest dose to start over. But yeah, you can take a break and start again. Sometimes that low dose is effective for you. Sometimes it takes some time for it to build back up in your body. So the lowest dose might not be effective again. It is if you're like, for whatever reason, have to go off because of finances or you're leaving the country, go off and come back on. It's not, you just might lose a little bit of time, but who cares?
Yeah.
But I think the stall thing, that scares the bejesus out of me personally. No. Yeah. That's what she's asking. She says, can I stop Monjaro for a month and go back at the lowest dose to break a stall? I would look at everything first. I would look at what's your protein. Are you starting your day with protein, hydration, all the pillars, which very quickly are protein, restorative sleep, electrolytes and hydration, strength training, and stress reduction. Those are our pillars. But because you're going to go from hunger control, appetite control, a slower gut to cold turkey, and that could go bad.
So you can, I'm going to do this first because the other one was just feisty, which I love. Sabrina said you can't take it on vacation. So if someone leaves for 6 months, the shots are good. They have expiration dates. They're good outside of refrigeration for 21 days. Compounds different. So yeah, you can manage it for sure. Or, you know, if you have a doctor, if you move for 6 months, you live in Europe for 6 months out of the year. I actually did a lot of research this week, both with the guys living in my house and have looked on asked some people in the Facebook groups for information on how it's prescribed in the UK. Because now that Mounjaro's in the UK, I just kind of wanted to get a feel for that if coaching clients want to come in, and I can help them navigate that. So I got a lot of information on that. So if you get a doctor over there to prescribe it, then you can, you know what I'm saying? You can have a doctor in two places. Just like if you were a snowbird, move down to Florida for half the year, you have a doctor in both places. And if you don't, you should. Or you have a doctor that's licensed in Florida and New York. Just saying. That's a little easier. If I didn't take my shot, I would eat my entire kitchen. Yep.
Sabrina, yeah, you can take it on vacation. Some people don't. Some people will like skip a dose because they're going on a cruise and want to enjoy it a little bit more, which is fine. Or, you know, they just don't want to because they won't have access, like if it's compounded to a refrigerator, or have to deal with it. So some people like do go off while they're on a trip. Now, we have had patients that have gone out of the country and have stopped and then started again when they came back. Because we can't, like, even if they're on compounded, like they can take it with them, but they can't get it for like a couple months. We can't ship overseas. So
we can't ship it to you. We can't prescribe. We don't ship anything, but we can't prescribe it to a pharmacy that will ship overseas. And we can't prescribe overseas. We're not licensed.
Dakota Mom asked about protocol before twilight sleep. Pretty much minimum 2 weeks before any sedated procedure.
Yeah, or whatever they say. So if they say like 3 weeks, just do 3 weeks. In talking with some of minimum, yeah. After talking with some anesthesiologists in the ER who hate these meds for the reason of they're amazing, other than people don't tell them they're on them. So please tell whoever anesthesia is that you're on these medications. Is that even after like a 24 like or 12 hours of not eating or drinking, they're still finding food in their stomachs. So if I was having a procedure on these meds, I would probably decrease, you know, like move to more of a like liquid diet like the last 24 hours. So I know I don't have anything in there.
Yep.
Oh, and absolutely, you can take antibiotics with Mounjaro. There's no interaction.
My doctor won't go up my dose is recommended stopping because my A1C is 5.0. But you're not on it. So okay.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
I don't exactly. Price of tea in China is I don't know what, but it's just about as related. So now, if you have a low A1C, it can be indicative of cancer. Don't ignore shit.
But yeah, if it's got it down to the A1C down to 5,
great, good job.
It's maintenance time. So
Like,
it's just a discussion with the doctor about maintenance.
Right?
So it also speaks nothing to the insulin resistance.
Well, that's what I do. Like, oh, my blood pressure is fine, so my doctor's going to take me off of my blood pressure meds. Great. Sounds like a plan. Like, would any doctor ever say that? No. So Broderick, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. Is compound going away? Will Eli Lilly win? Number one, Eli Lilly will always win. They have more money than anyone. However, their decisions were put into question recently. So they will still, and I love Eli Lilly. You guys know this. They saved my life, and I'm forever grateful. And I will support them doing very legal and ethical things. Okay. So keep doing the right thing and we'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, you know. I thought it would last much longer, but it's their property, you know, like intellectual property, unfortunately. Do we know if it's going away for sure? Like on the 21st of November, we're supposed to have more of a decision. So we won't know until then. And is it going to be another 6 months, 4 weeks after that, a year after that? We have no clue. But at the end of the day, it's Eli Lilly's intellectual property, and if they want it to end and they win because it's not in shortage, and which is what we moved to semaglutide. Like we still have options. It's not the end of GLP1s.
So she said to continue diet and exercise. She doesn't want her on Mounjaro long term. Why not? Do you not want the cardiovascular benefits?
She does. She does want me.
She does.
Good.
Oh.
No, it does not. She changed it.
No, it does not.
Does not. Oh, why?
Yeah. Because they're treating them like weight loss drugs. They're not treating them as the drugs they are, because they think it's a ploy for us to just lose weight instead of have better lives and better health and avoid some cardiovascular complications or dementia or fatty liver or kidney failure or all the things. So I'm on brand, but not everyone can afford it. So compound is very useful. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Very.
in my coaching practice, I actually do some financial work with people to help them develop other income streams.
I like my bird in the background too. I guess you guys can hear that.
It's better than the crickets, the locusts coming to get me. That was so weird. Tap, tap, tapping is clapping. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go in like 3 minutes. So yeah, Broderick, I get that we can't afford it. I don't like that mindset. So that's a different story. You know what? If you go to Instagram, I'll do a live on that later.
I just wish they would make like the compounded, or not the compounded, but like the generic version of liraglutide cheaper. Like at least then it would be an option for a lot of people until their insurance covers it. Compounding comes back. Something else changes.
Generic $400 a month.
It's still ridiculously priced, and that cost, it's not worth. Well, I mean, maybe it is, but it's just you could do some of the tirzepatide at like pretty high dose per month for that.
Or you could do tirzepatide with a savings card for $600.
Yeah.
I would do that rather than the 400 generic liraglutide.
I would do that in space bud doses if I had to. I just.
Yep.
We will figure something out.
We will make it
as we know more information.
Yeah, we're not talking about PBMs today because I've already been angry enough.
Res Q Ninja, she's a surgical RN. We advise patients hold GLPs day of and NPO 24 hours. That's it. Because the anesthesia, like he was upset when I was talking about a patient, and we got pretty in depth into it, and he's like, normally he would just intubate, but now he intubates with a Yankauer like literally sitting in their mouth, because anybody on this typically will aspirate. And there was a question about patient or someone saying they know someone who got pneumonia. They probably aspirated because either they didn't tell anesthesia or they weren't prepared for the ham sandwich that was still in their stomach from 2 weeks ago.
That's gross. Oh. Yeah, and I really hate intubating people from your anesthesia attending. So as a practice, again, this isn't medical advice, right? This is not medical advice. This is social media. They can do what they want. We're going to do what we want. And we're conservative as hell. I mean, honestly, because we're emergency medicine. So our first job is do no harm. I mean, everyone's first job is do no harm. I get that. And they can have their opinions because that's the anesthesia attending. So he's the one in your practice or in your hospital that's doing the job. Yeah, it's all good.
He hasn't got burned yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, give him a ham sandwich. Here we come. All right. Can it be refrigerated again? Yes, just put it back in.
Dakota told her, tell everybody you're on anesthesia or on these medications, at least your provider. Mm-hmm. They need to know. I mean, you might tell your doctor you're on this and they throw a fit. Even some people have lost weight and they're like, wow, you look great. You lost a ton of weight. Your numbers look better. Oh, you're on those medicines. Now I'm mad at you. Why?
Awesome.
They did something by themselves that you couldn't help them with.
Yeah, I know, right? Dakota got her PA improved in 10 minutes. Could I do your
awesome.
PA? Because the shortest one I've ever had is an hour and a half. I was on Mounjaro for a year and now can't afford it. What can I do? Please help. Well, you've got a couple of options. You can do brand name for $550 or $600 a month, depending on when you downloaded the savings card for Zepbound. Mounjaro is about the same. You could go compounded while it is still legal, while they do their legislation, or you could revamp your finances and find other income streams, find different options to afford the medication. Those are really the three options you have.
See if Wegovy, Ozempic is covered.
Right.
Switch to compounded semaglutide, and then we have, depending on who you're with, like we use other medications along with it, like metformin, naltrexone, if needed. So we have options.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah. We don't. Now, granted, when I say that about the PAs, some go automatically through. I don't do those anymore because we hired a PA specialist to do all the back end paperwork. When I was doing them myself, I mean, granted, I also didn't do very many myself because it was taking me like an hour and a half. This was also 2 years ago. We've hired a PA specialist who does all the back end shit now. Thank God. So on metformin and glipizide, they didn't take you. Make sure your doctor knows you're on glipizide with these medications.
Yes.
This is not medical advice. Make sure your doctor knows that. Our patients never be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Advantages of compounding or the disadvantages. Well, I think the biggest advantage is cost right now, and availability. Other than that, for some patients, it's being able to customize your dose. Some people can't handle the traditional doses of, let's call it tirzepatide, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. 2.5 sometimes is too much for them, so we need to start a little lower. Some people, like when it's time to increase, 2.5 like isn't enough, but 5's way too much. So with compounded, we can split the dose, and do 2.5 like twice a week, or we can go to like a weird dose, do like 4 milligrams or 3.5 milligrams as we slowly increase it. So that's the biggest advantage, at least for me, is being able to personalize that dose.
Or remember, we had a couple of patients who could not handle 2.5 of tirzepatide, needed the food noise, could not handle it with their gut. They started at 1.25 and had to work their way up. So how do we know if you can get off of your other meds? You got to talk to your doctor. But really, we never, ever, ever prescribe a GLP-1 with other diabetic meds. Period. End of story. Full stop. As a practice.
Except for metformin.
Well, that's not really metformin's like a bullshit metabolic drug that does shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I would. That's the thing. It has so many. Like I don't even call it a diabetic drug because it's like a.
How long should be off before trying for pregnancy? I would talk to my gyne about this, but I want to say they recommend. It used to be like 4 weeks, and I think it's now 2 months before you try.
Yeah,
you might know this a little better, Amanda.
2 cycles, I would say.
2 cycles.
2 cycles. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
They have very long half-life. So theoretically, if you take a shot today, it's kind of in your body for 25 to 30 days. So I would make sure that that's out. So I would say if it was a woman, I'd say 2 months, at least, or 2 cycles, like Amanda suggests.
What if it's a man?
It's a man. I don't know if it kind of goes, into the sperm, how it's affected there. I don't think it does, but I have no clue.
I never thought about that because when you said it was a woman, I'm like, does it affect sperm? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
if you're trying to get pregnant,
that's a whole other subject.
We go to your psychiatrist, start there.
Next time I talk to urology, I will ask.
Yeah, I don't know. Losing weight has so many advantages and benefits. All the benefits. I really do have to go to get ready for this call at 11:30, but such a good day. Such a good day. I'll go back on live later. Probably not on TikTok, but I'll probably pop on live to go on Instagram for a little bit and just try it out a little bit later.
Oh, here Glenda's been on. Oh, sorry. You got to go?
Go ahead. I do, but go ahead.
Yeah, Glenda's off 3 weeks of compounded, gained 13 pounds so far because it's out of her budget. So things you can do, really focus on your protein. Try to aim, get that protein goal, at least 100 grams a day. And then, is where I would start, because hopefully that'll help you stay fuller, get fuller faster, stay fuller longer. Focus on whole foods. That's where I'd start. And then, count calories if you have to.
Hold on. I'm trying to reply, which is why my hand's in front of the thing. You said I'm glad I count. Thank you. Roderick, so that's donate plasma to get your meds. Do whatever the fuck you got to do. No, I think that's where I'd like to shift the perspective for people, right? Because this is so incredibly important. The food noise is back so strong. Honey, let's figure it out. I'll keep talking about that because I think that's a big deal. I think people need to. When am I going to go on Instagram? Hold on. Let me, what time is it? 1:30. 1:30 p.m. I'll set an alarm. 1:30 p.m. I'll go out live on Instagram. Central.
2
hours. In 2 hours from now. I'll set an alarm because I think that's when my last appointment is, or my last meeting's over. That's right, because I blocked it off to study. So I'll pop onto Instagram 1:30 p.m. Central today. I'll get it going. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out this restream shit. So, but yes. So hop on. Don't think the TDE calculator is not right. It'll be too high. It's going to make you overeat. Don't worry about eating. Just stay hydrated. Eat a couple grapes.
Or use it as a tool. Use it based on your ideal body weight. And that's where I would start with my total calories. And if that's still too much, then you start to decrease it from there.
Correct. But all right, guys, I'm going to pee my pants. I got to go.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Bye, guys.